Speaking of green, Nika,
Yeah.
I need to start today's episode in Boston, home of the Green Monster.
Ooh, okay.
And that's because, well, we have a little bit of Boston irony happening. You know, like it never fails, does it?
Nope.
As you can see here on slide number 1 today, Alex Cora told reporters that Alex Bregman is, quote, going to be out for a while, very similar to 2021. This is because he's suffered a significant quad injury, a strained quad, and this is where it's at. There is no timetable set for his return.
Is that his old injury reignited, or this is a new injury?
I mean, it's a new injury, but I think he's just going based off his own experience. I don't know if it's the same quad or the opposite leg or not. I honestly don't know.
Two.
Well, correct. I just don't know if it's the same one as the previous injury to warrant like that kind of it's a re-injury. I don't know.
Anyway.
Either way, it doesn't sound good at all. For what I know, he was out like 9 weeks last time this happened.
Oh, wow. So over 2 months. And
Yeah.
this might be, if it's the same, might even be longer.
Absolutely. So this happened on Friday night's game, and this was against the Orioles. This was game 2 of a 4-game set at Fenway Park over the weekend against the Orange Birds. And Saturday morning, this got posted to Sports Illustrated, and I clipped this article a little bit by Blake Silverman. And it says, Alex Cora gives details on Alex Bregman's, quote, significant injury. Bregman is slated to miss significant time after suffering a quad injury Friday. And the caption on the picture says Boston Red Sox third baseman Bregman runs out of the dugout. So nothing really important there. But if you continue on with the article, Nika, we see Alex Cora here addressing the media in those lovely green uniforms, by the way. I really do dig the uniform more than I thought. You know, it's obviously supposed to be a representation of the Green Monster, and it even has like the same font that is on the scoreboard itself and the wall.
It's almost minty green.
I
love it.
Yeah, I do like
really
it a
like
lot.
it.
It's really sharp. They nailed this one. And for a team named the Red Sox, I never would have guessed that I would love this jersey for them, but I do love this jersey for them.
I do too. And it's very Christmassy with red and green.
It is a little bit Christmassy. Good call. Yeah.
Anyway.
So anyways, Alex Cora addressing the media, and the article goes on. Boston Red Sox third baseman Alex Bregman left the team's game Friday after he came up awkwardly after rounding first base on a long single. The injury occurred in the first game of a day-night doubleheader with the Baltimore Orioles before he was ruled out of the night game with right quad tightness. The night game was eventually postponed and pushed the doubleheader to Saturday. So this was before all of this doubleheader madness happened on Saturday. And then it goes on and it continues. Oh, I think there's a double slide in there. My bad.
Yeah, there's Alex Cora.
Again.
Yes.
Okay. Let's skip ahead to the tweet. This is from Jen McCaffrey. And this says, Cora called Bregman's injury a significant injury. He'll be out for a while. He said it's similar to the 2021 quad strain Bregman had when he missed more than 50 games.
Ooh, ouch.
Yeah.
That's
this is
a
that
lot.
9 weeks I was talking about. So that's almost a third of the whole season.
Wow.
He said Marcello Mayer, will play all over the infield. And this was the interesting part at the end. No Devers at third. So
interesting.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in 1 second. The Red Sox, the article goes on and it continues. The Red Sox called up Marcello Mayer, their top infield prospect from AAA Worcester following Bregman's injury. The 22-year-old Mayer aims to provide some immediate help in the infield as he makes his major league debut. Cora named other Red Sox who can help at third base during Bregman's absence, including Ceddanne Rafaela, Nick Sogard, Abraham Toro, and Connor Wong. And not one of those names is Rafael Devers, although Ceddanne Rafaela is probably about as close as it gets.
Wow.
If you continue on in the article, It says Mayer is slated to make his MLB debut in the night game of Saturday's doubleheader with the Orioles. With Bregman slated to miss significant time, Boston's number 2 ranked prospect has a chance to fill a huge void in the infield. Before the injury, Bregman was slashing .299, .385, and .553 with an OPS plus of 159 in his first season with the Red Sox. That's really good. Mm-hmm. They're going to be missing him for a little bit, it sounds like. So yeah, this was huge, and I couldn't find and help but think that this is just one of the worst cases of baseball irony I've seen in a long time. You want to talk about if you don't believe in baseball gods before baseball karma or anything like that, maybe you should now, because this is baseball karma working itself in action.
Nature finds a way.
If Boston would have handled this whole situation differently in the offseason, they would be in a totally different spot with this right now. And they got greedy. You know, that's the bottom line. They tried to play fantasy baseball with their roster, and it's come back now to bite them significantly in the ass. And I'm not going to say that they shouldn't have signed Alex Bregman. You know, Alex Bregman's getting paid a lot of money over a shorter amount of time than Rafael Devers is. And if anyone should have learned and played another position in the infield, it should have been Alex Bregman. And if Alex Bregman was the starting second baseman when the season would have started, then we wouldn't be in this position now, because Rafael Devers would still be playing third base, and any one of these young prospects could have come up and played second base for Bregman when he got hurt.
Well, Bregman's resume includes second base.
Also, if you don't boot Raffy Devers off of third, you might have an easier time convincing him to go play first base when...
It's hard to play first.
but when Tristan Casas got lost for the season, you might have an easier conversation there, because you didn't tell the guy, like, we don't want you to pick up your glove anymore. Like, you literally insulted the man.
Yeah. That was the wrong thing to say by a manager of all people.
Yeah.
You are a baseball, player. Mitt is part of your wardrobe.
Yeah.
Every day.
Nobody wants to be taken off the field.
Of course not.
It's a part of the team, and he's a team leader. So he wants to be out there with his troops, with his friends. And
absolutely.
Anyways, well, if you flip to the next slide, you can see here, Rafael Devers had a good Saturday. He got a walk-off hit, Nika.
Nice.
Unfortunately, I think that was the last time the Red Sox have won a game since this has happened. So they've now lost 2 straight, and they are fallen a couple games now below 500.
Okay.
So yeah, Rafael Devers is not listed here amongst one of the potential people that could be replacing his replacement at third base.
What a nightmare situation.
All right. Well, I want to turn it over to Jones and Keefe. I found them. They are WEEI on the FM radio in Boston, and you can listen to them on Odyssey. It looks like the same exact setup here as 670 The Score in Chicago, if you're familiar. But this tweet, before we get into watching it here, it reads, "What do the Red Sox do to replace Alex Bregman? Keefe 21 has some ideas. Keep Marcelo Mayer at third. Consider kicking Trevor Story off the team." But we're going to listen to Jones here, because Jones is not having that.
Okay.
Well, let's take a listen, Nika.
Bregman. Like, what do they even do? Well, Meyer.
Is that it?
Meyer's your third baseman right now, but they need to really consider kicking Trevor Story off the team. He stinks. He's such an automatic out, or at least
he was such a huge
move him
part
to
of their
second.
team
Be like, dude, you got to play second base.
The documentary.
Campbell's going to play first, and Meyer can play his position at third. At short. What do you do at third? I know you're going to say Rafael Devers, but it ain't going to be him.
But shouldn't Devers want to do that? He never wanted to move in the first place. Like, shouldn't he be like...
No, now he's locked in at DH.
Shouldn't he be shoving people out of the way to go play third base? Shouldn't he be like, no.
Pause it. You know what? He should for 29 other teams in the major leagues, but never, ever should he do that for Boston. Ever. Nika, ever.
No disagreements here.
He should do that for all 29 other teams, though.
The way he was treated by the team.
No way.
And I understand when people come out and say, well, it's a team. You should do it for a team. You're a team player, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Yes. But you have to give the guy a respect, too, and treat him respectfully.
Yeah.
Before,
especially the highest paid player on your team that you want to play there for the next decade. You might want to consider how you treat that person.
Exactly. Instead of saying, like, well, that happened in the previous regime, so we don't care. Really?
That is
a
awful.
cop-out.
You inherit these things when you take these jobs on. You know,
Imagine
and if you didn't want Rafael
like
Devers, like you owed him a conversation in the offseason and been like, hey, we're going to replace you at third. If that's not cool with you, do you mind if we shop your contract around? Are there any teams you'd like to play for?
Conversation, easy.
It is easy if he's part of the previous regime. But the fact that they didn't even tell him this stuff or talk to him about it and just played fantasy baseball in the closet without talking.
In the closet.
Well, I mean, it's like they're doing it in the bunker, the closet, whatever you want to call it. They're doing it behind closed doors,
yes.
you know, and they're doing it in the dark in the smoke-filled room, and they're playing fantasy baseball. That's what they're doing these days.
Godfather comes to mind.
No kidding. Exactly. I mean, and it probably is treated like that with the Red Sox. They're so damn old, you know. They're basically like the mafia of baseball.
Maybe they are Irish mob.
Maybe
Boston, you know.
Who knows? I'm not going to send this podcast out now because I'll have, you know, wise guys knocking on my door asking, "Who the hell are you?"
Anytime.
The Departed. I'll be one of them.
All right.
Speaking of Boston, no, this was I couldn't believe this when I heard this, like, and the reasoning that you should want to go do it. Yeah, he does want to go do it, but he should never ever cave and do it for this team ever again with how they treat it. They told him, take your mitt and pack it in your bag and forget you have it. That's what they told him.
Yeah, they did.
And then they were like, "Oh, play first, please." No? Okay. Now you think that he's just jumping in out of his shoes to go play third base again?
No.
Kiss my ass.
It's awful. That's not how you treat players. You don't treat anybody like that.
All right. Well, let's listen to what the rest of Jones has to say about the matter.
All right.
That's my spot. I want that back. I never wanted to move in the first place. Give me that spot.
He should, but he's not going to.
He didn't want to do first base, okay?
He had to learn a new position.
He shouldn't.
He didn't want to do first base, which I disagreed with, but okay, he doesn't want to embarrass himself is the excuse we got, and they told him he didn't want to glove.
But he embarrassed himself at third for years.
Okay, and I don't think he's a good third baseman, but he should still be volunteering to go out there and help the
I think Rafael Devers deserves to play in a market where he's appreciated by his fans. And by his radio, like, he's not a bad third baseman.
Well, he's not the best third baseman, okay? But the point is here, if you change the team, you are coached.
I don't care. I think before Boston signed Alex Bregman, nobody was questioning whether Rafael Devers was going to play third or not for this team. It was only after they signed him when it was like, oh, who plays third? No, who plays first? Nah, just a joke. But for real, like, Bregman automatically got put into third base. We heard Ken Rosenthal be like, anointed him. Oh, Gold Glove, got to play third.
Yep.
And the media created this narrative, and then Devers shows up and he's like, I play third. And then they're like, no, you don't. And he's like, fine. He pouted. He
didn't have
said
a good
fine,
start.
and then he started hitting. And now all of a sudden everyone's come back crawling and crying, and they're like, oh, but you're not that bad. Don't you want to go and show us how wrong we all were? And no, he should never do that for Boston. He should definitely do that for 29 other teams, though. And he should definitely spend the rest of his life telling Boston how wrong they were for what they did to him.
Yeah.
Is there more to this clip?
No, there's some more.
All right, let's hear what the rest of these buffoons have to say.
The team
He's
at third
not
base,
gonna.
he should be shoving people out of the way.
No way.
He's
looking the other way.
sorry.
He should be flying.
Go ahead.
Why would he be shoving people away? Why? I don't understand. Like,
Because he's got to do it for the team, Nika. Okay. Ask not what your team can do for you. Ask what you can do for your team.
well.
It's a two-way street, though, you know.
But
and I hate how
ways.
they want it one way.
Well, no, they want to have it both ways. You want to just put players wherever they wanted to put them, and then like go play there.
Yeah,
because
fantasy
it's
baseball.
so easy.
But then, as soon as you're not
good
enough
for that position, they're gonna turn it around and be like, wow, he's bad, we need to trade him or whatever.
Instead of challenging him to get better and being like, hey, why don't you show up an hour early and we'll take some extra ground balls tomorrow. I'll beat some balls into your chest. Whatever. I mean, I just feel like these athletes are the best athletes in the world, and they are just sitting there waiting to be challenged more often than not in the modern game than they are. They aren't challenged enough.
They're not being challenged, and with challenge comes coaching, and you learn different things from different coaches. You are never the same afterwards.
It is, and replacing Devers with Bregman was the easy answer for Boston. It was, and I'm not saying they shouldn't have signed him, although I do question
was
the
it
signing
necessary?
because of the fact that they immediately were already targeting him at third base. If they signed him and said like, hey, you should play second, and we'll just let everything take care of itself.
Yeah.
You'll probably wind up back at third. And even when Casas went down, like I said, if Devers was never booted off third and never told, go put your mid away, and said, and then you come to him and say like, hey, Casas went down. We have Bregman now. Do you want to go play first? It might have been a much different conversation.
Yeah.
He might have been like, oh yeah, I want to help the team.
Totally different conversation.
But yeah, so I think. Again, I'm going to stick to what I've always said with this situation is that go ahead and let it finish.
From Milwaukee to go meet with John Henry to be like, give me the job. I want the
Do you
third
think
base
Cora
job.
addressed the team? He's like, all right, guys, I got some bad news. Bregman is going to be out for a long time. And then Devers just like put a newspaper up over his face.
Is Homer Simpson his way out of the room.
All of a sudden, the big shrubbery.
Everybody's like kind of looking at him.
Does anybody know how to play third base? Anybody at all? Just a volunteer for third base. Where'd Rafael go?
Not me.
Rafael just left.
The guy's crying about playing third base in spring
he's
training.
DH now.
He left
He
in
does
a huff.
he does hitting.
He left in a huff from spring training. He's like, I'm out of here. I can't believe they won't let me play third base. Now third base is wide open, and he's like, I'm good.
Nah, I'm a good DH now.
What a team.
He's an all-star DH.
What a baseball team.
They stink.
Text line's
What
right.
entitlement.
Isn't this the team you guys had winning the
Right?
division?
Yes.
No, wrong. I had them in the World Series.
This is like
I had him winning it.
Yeah, not far
What
enough.
bad
Not even
fan
close. No, I had them way
entitlement
better
sounds
than
like.
this.
Yeah.
So what the hell's wrong with this team?
This
You guys
is a mess.
I'll tell you what's wrong with the team. It's the general manager.
It's the GM.
It's the GM. We saw him on the documentary on
new
Netflix.
GM. Yes.
The new GM, the one that
Yes.
didn't sign Devers to this contract.
Oh gosh, yes.
He
And
comes across like one of the worst human beings in baseball. Like, hey guys, I'm here to nerd up your team. We're gonna go strictly by the numbers, and
and he supposedly played.
I know, and that's what makes this even worse. If he was a player, he should know better than to treat other players this way. And the fact that he does, he just treats them like cattle fodder.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean,
Not good.
they're not slaves. They're not getting paid nothing. I understand that. But again, the whole way they handled this is what I want to say when we started. It's baseball karma.
Yep.
It was handled poorly from the get-go. There was no reason to move Rafael Devers, even with the Alex Bregman signing. As we said, it doesn't mean he had to automatically play third. And like I said, imagine if, a couple scenarios here. If Devers was just still at third, Bregman gets hurt now, you bring up these young guys to come play second where they've been playing in the minor leagues. You don't have this big problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that's what I feel like is going on in Boston, for lack of a better way of putting
Maybe
it.
by the All-Star break, they will figure it out what's happening.
I don't think they're going to trade Rafael Devers, at least not this year. I think unless they fall really far out of it, and they've already fallen 2 games below 500, as we said, and now they're going to be without Bregman for a significant amount of time, and they do have okay pitching, but
You need hitting.
you need to hit, and Devers can't do it alone.
Yeah.
And so I guess I just wonder what they do decide to do if they're out of it by a lot at the trade deadline. And you know that the Cubs, even the Yankees, and also more importantly and probably most prominent of all, the Mariners, would benefit from having a player like Rafael Devers come to their team.
Let's not forget the Dodgers.
Of course, they'll probably make a play for everybody that's available,
But
right?
they do need a third baseman.
Well,
Muncy is not cutting.
yeah, I mean, but
in a way, when you look at things.
That's true. So, oh my gosh, don't put any ideas in their heads because he bats left-handed too, doesn't he? Oh Jesus, it would be like replacing one with the other. But they would have to take his errors, I guess.
They would.
I don't think they would care. I think on a team of sluggers like that.
Yeah, they wouldn't.
Lord have mercy. That's all I got to say about that.